myself and Ron Stefanowicz, our Linden Economic Development Director, stopped into Trenton, seeing Commissioner Constable with a vision that my administration had. And that vision was to turn this two-block area into a justice complex. We needed a new police department, and to me, this was an ideal location for a police department, because if you put a police department here with cops coming and going to and fro, coming to work, going to work, coming in from their jobs out in the street, it provided a tremendous amount of security for an economically depressed business neighborhood. And what better incentive do you have for a developer to put money in all these vacant lots than have a police headquarters right here smack in the middle of it? That was my vision. When we presented it to the DCA and Commissioner Constable gave their local planning unit to the city of Linden to develop a plan for this area, Bob Tessier ran with the ball and not only wanted a justice complex, but decided on a social justice complex, bringing in different agencies like the United Way, like the communities in cooperation to have family centers, job centers, and social services all combined into one social justice complex. And that's when he's been working so hard with his team that I'm going to turn it over to him right now, and he's going to get into the details. But this project I'm really excited about. There's nothing I could think of better to activate and vitalize this community than a social justice complex right here on St. George's Avenue. And we've been working closely with Mayor Holly on his assistance because, as everybody knows, Roselle is right across the street from Linden. What happens in Roselle happens in Linden, and Mayor Holly's 100% in support of it, and he's actually going to be part of the social justice complex. We're going to share the court system, Roselle and the city of Linden, in this social justice complex. Besides that, I'm trying to twist his arm to share our dispatching services, and I got him this close to agreeing. Not yet, but this close. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Bob Tessier. And Bob, I just want to publicly thank you and your staff for all the hard work. They've been doing this for about a year, getting together Trinitas Hospital. Again, we'll go into details. And this is something that, although it's not going to happen tomorrow, and it's still a vision, I really feel it's going to come to fruition because of the hard work of Bob, and then our continued work after we have this information meeting. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Yeah, so as the mayor stated, we started like a year ago. Local Planning Services is a group of community planners. Local planning, a little louder? Yeah, Local Planning Services is a group of community planners that goes out to communities to try to help them with specific projects, and this was a perfect project for us that the mayor brought us. This is really an opportunity to transform this whole region, the whole streetscape, and this redevelopment area. The nice thing is you already have the property. This area in green is owned by the city or to be owned by the city. So the property has been purchased, and you know what's going to be the destiny of this property. And you know the concept again is the social justice complex. This is the building that we're sitting in now. So these lots right across the street, and here a couple of buildings still that'll be torn down. What we're talking about is trying to make something that's not only will create more economic activity in the area, but something also that will help transform the families and the clients that come into the area. So the type of facility, this is what the property is now, and here's some visioning from, can you go back for a second? And here's some visioning for what the property could look like. So when we started our project, we partnered with NJIT. There was a graduate design studio that did a lot of visioning. Both Mayor Holly and Mayor Grabunka went down with us to help discuss with the students. Our final report really is in the form of a redevelopment plan. It incorporates your existing plan, but then adds this layer of plan with it, so it's something that hopefully can move forward. And if the governing body adopts it, it will become your plan for this area. The items that we talk about are this joint courts, a job opportunity center, the police department from Linden, family support center. Trinitas Hospital is interested in and talking with us about and wants to put an emergency services facility here as well. And then there's the offices of emergency management that also can locate here. Okay, Tom. So I'll take you through some of the ideas. The thing is that you have this St. George Street corridor here that has a whole mix of uses. A lot of redevelopment opportunities for Roselle, and a lot of redevelopment opportunities for Linden as well. And if this facility is built here, hopefully you'll start to see some of these vacant properties or underutilized properties come in, so that a pharmacy then would be interested in locating, or a law firm would locate their office, and that you'll start, that's a lot of people having lunch, so hopefully some restaurants come in. So the idea is to use this as a method for transforming the whole area. In addition, there's a streetscape plan, which is a second grant, which will fit in, nicely with the project, and with sidewalks, benches, and landscaping along it. And this is really in a critical area, in a critical neighborhood. When we look at some of the statistical studies that are done, this is really like a transition area between very stable areas and very challenged areas. So this is where it makes real sense to make a stand and try to make a difference. Okay, so again, we've vetted out with the students, this is one of their graphs, to see if all these uses could be there. And in the redevelopment report, we actually have square footages. We toured and discussed with people so that there's real numbers behind it. And all these uses, as well as the fact that you have this existing recreation center, which is also going to be supportive of the activity. They can fit on the site. There's a lot of different configurations. We have a couple of models up here the students had done. And it kind of demonstrates that you can get a 65,000 square foot multi-story complex here. You can get 300 to 350 parking spaces in deck parking, sort of like you have in Linden City Hall now. Tom? So the community impact that we're thinking this will have, if both communities get behind doing it, is it'll impact community safety immediately, because there'll be more eyes on the street, there'll be more police on the street, there'll be more, activity, and eyes on the street is one way you can make things, much safer. The Family Support Center will hopefully integrate that people aren't just coming here to pay fines or coming here to get a court sentence. They'll be able to also look for family counseling, look for job opportunities, and look for health opportunities. This, a new facility here also should shape a new community identity. And then there'll be retail spending dollars, because there'll be a lot of people here, working here, going out to lunch, working here, coming here to visit, and the courts are very busy. I mean, you're having 100 to 150 cases a day, and I guess Linden's court is 3 days and Roselle's is 2, so it's natural that they could operate for 5 days. The court would be full every day. And the private capital, as I said, there could be a tract that are like a pharmacy, restaurants, other goods and services, and some residential development, because now it becomes perceived as a safe place to be and with a good identity and image. So the multiplier effect of spending public funds to do this will, more than pay back what you spend to invest in it. So there's also government impacts because Linden and Roselle are sharing the municipal court. There's operational savings, so you don't have to have two separate systems. Right now, there are mandates for court security for both towns. They're using their public meeting rooms as courts, so the security that they're doing isn't really up to standard. It's just something kind of fit into the hallway. So there's future expenses in keeping those two courts separate in facilities that they weren't designed for. There's also going to be a freeing up of existing space, so that space can be repurposed and reused to cut costs. The new police station, of course, the existing police station, like we've toured, we've looked at, you know, it operates, but it doesn't meet safe standards. It doesn't meet modern standards of separation between clients and the personnel and prisoners, and it'll be more cost efficient and more organized. There'll be more segregated visitors, prisoners, investigations, and staff, and encouraged. And this location here with the rec center and with these other facilities, we're hoping also will encourage the police to be more integrated into the community. The shared offices of emergency management, again, if they come to this facility, this will also be a place that people think of to come in an emergency, to come, and there'll be an adequate area for staging, and there'll also be more resiliency in response. And there's a big equipment sharing opportunity, because we saw a lot of double equipment. You might need it all, but if it's all in one place and there's a major disaster in one location, it's going to be a lot easier, even though you still need to have separate OEM management for each municipality. If everything's in one place, it's going to be much easier to deal with. Tom? So this should result in operational cost savings for the municipality, for both municipalities. The property itself is, who's doing that? Maria. And Maria and Tom are two of the staff people that are on our staff, and Maria's going to talk about the location and the property.
I'm going to talk a little bit about this property and the demographics of the area. So the site that we looked at, the study area, is about 3.25 acres of land, and as you know, it's along State Route 27, which is a major arterial roadway. And as Bob said, it's mostly vacant and underutilized right now, and all the lots are now owned by the city of Linden, and the existing buildings that are there now will be demolished. The great thing about this is that it's already part of a larger redevelopment area that was designated by the city of Linden in December of 2004. So that's usually a big hurdle that municipalities have to go through, is designating an area redevelopment. So that's a key thing here, that it's already designated, so we don't have to do that. Also, it's surrounded by commercial and residential uses, as you know. It was once a thriving residential and commercial district, and it's seen an increase in crime and a reduction in commerce and quality of life for the residents of the area. So the area has an 80% vacancy rate right now, and it's characterized by a lot of empty buildings and lots. And also it has access to all public utilities right now. And there's no environmental constraints, there's no contamination on the area, so it's really a nice clean slate to work with. So the next slide is, we looked at the census, the demographic information for the property, and what we found out when we did our analysis, that this is an economic transitional area between the surrounding urban and suburban areas. So you know, you have towns like Clark and Cranford on the west, and you have obviously Elizabeth to the east, and we see the higher incomes obviously in the suburban areas and lower values in the urban areas to the east toward Elizabeth. We see also younger, more racially diverse and less affluent in the area, with the more on that side and the less on that side, and then higher unemployment in the county and the state averages. Higher poverty levels in the county and state averages also, and the home values are mostly lower than the surrounding areas. And so when you compare it to the census tracts in the surrounding region, the neighborhoods adjacent to the area tend to exhibit this economic transition area between the suburban and the urban areas. So with the influx of more civic and commercial land uses in this area, we believe that the area has a great potential to show increases in income and employment, a higher quality of life, and housing and higher housing values in the area. So we believe that we bring more business to the area, we bring the social justice complex, it's going to increase those things in this area and cause higher incomes and higher employment. And the home values are going to go up, and I think more development, more employment in this area. So we really think this is a great transition area between the two areas of the region. So who's next after me?
All right, so one of the ideas, which is kind of cutting edge in the court community and the design of these facilities, is to offer some alternative to just lock up, pay the fine, to really get involved, as Pastor Pam has here, with families, with giving people alternative paths, with trying to find alternatives to traditional courts. This social justice complex tries to reconnect that justice process and the police with the community that they serve. Some examples are New Haven Community Court. Yale University did a development design program that Keith pointed out and that NJIT looked at as their model. And that's really what gave us the idea of putting all these other services in one place. Another one which you can look up too is Red Hook Community Justice Center in Brooklyn. And they also used it to try to do a transition in their area. So the principles that are applied here, and here's another student design of what this facility could look like. And there's room for public plazas. There's room to have some, public concerts and activities here at the same time as having all these uses. One thing we talk about is, the principle of restoring the community. That's what this would do. That because a facility like this would be visible, accessible, and proactive, it would bridge the gap between the community and the courts. It would, by having job counseling, child care, this urgent medical care facility, social service activity, family support activity, you're knitting together the criminal justice system with the community. You're helping offenders deal with the problems that lead to crime and to avoid that, and better information for the community, because you'll have kiosks, you'll have a lot of people going through the facility. That's a real opportunity to educate people about what's going on both in Linden and in Roselle. And having everything under one roof and having all those facilities together really makes some kind of a subconscious expression about what the justice system should be, and what the police really are doing is, trying to help the community. Okay, Tom.
Switch?
Yeah, and Tom Stanukinis also is going to talk a little bit about the shared services aspect of the program. If I can advance the slides, I'll be good.
Sorry if some of this is a little bit redundant, but as Bob was saying, once we met with the mayors and understood what their vision was, we started our work. And the first thing we did is we met with the city and the borough staff to find out what they needed. What type of building would they need to maximize their level of service to the community? So we went out and we interviewed the staff, and they told us what their needs were. So we found out that the police station, for example, they needed 25,000 square feet of space. The job training center needed about 2,000 square feet. Family assistance, 7,000. The municipal court, a little larger, needs 10,000 square feet. We also talked to the OEM, the urgent care, and that's it. So what we found out was that the building, in order to maximize the level of service, needed about 50 to to 65,000 square feet of building space. And it's going to be on a 3.25 acre property. So could that all fit? Would it work? We worked with NJIT, next slide, and they designed some models, 2 to 3 story buildings, some with basements. They looked at it from an architectural standpoint to see if those needs could fit in the dimensions that we looked at, and they did. These are some examples. They used a bit of different numbers because they looked at different industry standards and technical documents and came up with some square footages on their own. But they're basically in the same ballpark. And when they designed the building to code, they found out that they could fit all these uses on the property in the square footage that was within our budget. Next slide. So again, one of the important things that we did is we went out and we talked to the city and the borough staff. For the Office of Emergency Management, we met with Roselle Borough's OEM, which is right down the street, and Linden's OEM, which is downtown. And we found out that they do a lot of work. They're very busy. They have a high level of service, and they have a lot of equipment that they manage. We also found out that they work a lot with each other. They're partnered on a lot of mutual aid calls, and they both assist each other on emergencies. So they're already kind of working together. But what we wanted to know is, what are your needs if you wanted a high-level, state-of-the-art facility? What are some of the things that you don't have now that you could use in a bigger facility? And talking to the OEMs, they needed services for their staff. So they needed kitchens, showers, locker rooms. A lot of the workers work overnight shifts on some occasion during emergencies and floods. So they need somewhere where the workers can eat and shower and relax. They also needed more room for training, better computer systems with radio rooms, more vehicle bays to store all their equipment inside. Some of the equipment is either stored outside or off-site. So it would be great to have all their equipment at one site. So when they need it, it's there. And again, more storage space would be helpful. Next slide. We also spoke with the municipal courts to find out what their needs are. Right now, both municipalities have their courts set up in their municipal buildings. But the current facilities don't meet the needs and lack enough space to properly handle the load of cases that they have. We were just at Linden's courtroom, and there was a pretty big line at the court today. So we asked them what their needs were, and they expressed their needs. They told us that they have 200, 300 cases per week. But Linden holds court 3 days a week, and Roselle holds court on 2 days a week. So we see that they could kind of work an on-off schedule so they can both use the same facility. In this building, they would need separate areas for the public and staff to separate them for security purposes. They need more meeting rooms for the judges and the attorneys, client attorney meeting rooms and mediation rooms, and more space and terminals to properly manage the court cases. We also worked with the Department of Community Affairs, Local Government Services, and they had a lot of resources and help and assistance to show us how shared municipal courts work. And they're on board to help us implement this. On the last slide, when we talked about the Office of Emergency Management, I forgot to mention that we also talked to the Union County EMS department, and they were also very helpful and eager to help with a shared service. So there are partnerships that we're creating, and I think Bob's going to speak a little bit more about that now.
Okay, so there's really an opportunity to partner between a lot of different people to make this happen. Partner with the police, partner with the OEM, the partnership between the two mayors, the borough of Roselle and the city, the United Way, who has an active role in the community, an active stake in trying to tie together the social fabric in the area. The communities in cooperation that are now working here, actually doing family counseling and doing job fairs. I think there's a job fair coming up shortly. Trinitas Hospital is on board of investing real money in the area and providing those emergency services. And then, of course, the county too, which I didn't put on the slide, but the county, especially with the OEM, said they would help provide technical assistance in pulling together the documentation and the planning that's needed to do that. Okay, Tom. So we did do design visioning with NJIT, had a series of meetings with them. Taryn's here from NJIT. The dean wanted to come, but he had a last-minute conflict. With Taryn was one of the students that put together the models that we have, and the material produced by the students is in this redevelopment plan report, which I guess eventually will be posted on the web or be available for people to look at. So Taryn, you want to talk about students and your design experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, my name is Taryn. So I was one of the 16 graduate students at NJIT to be able to participate in the visioning for the Social Justice Complex Center here for Linden and Roselle. It was a semester-long project, which, if anyone knows architecture school, is not enough time to do a project of this detail, but we worked steadfastly and we had really nice projects at the end of it, which are all in the book that Bob had mentioned. So some things we noticed is, obviously we all love public architecture projects because of the visions that the building can have for the community and the people, not only its daily users, but the scope of that the building can affect is from blocks away to the cities of Linden and Roselle, to the county, to the region. We realized this was a unique location because Maria mentioned that the social fabric could be uplifted and grow, and that this place can be seen as a public gathering place and almost an extension of this community center, so that you're not just sharing resources with Linden and Roselle for the courts and the police and other things, but just as gathering spaces and places in times of emergency and times of not emergencies. And also the fact that it's on the evacuation route of St. George's Avenue, and that in the county, if the OEM is built there, it would be the Office of Emergency Management closest to an evacuation route in the entire county, which could prove to not only help this community, but even help communities that are farther away. It was a really complex project and challenging. We all really enjoyed it. It was my favorite project thus far in school, mostly because of the internal organization. Trying to find the nuances between putting a police station next to a community health center and a court next to a community center is like very interesting. And you can find harmony within these things so that you can have both a secure police station and security within the court, but also have freedom to roam and to gather and to have public aspects next to private aspects, which was the best part. Also the external organization, where since it's a shared place that you're not approaching a front at all times. The front entrance is any side, any entrance, and most students approach it that way, that you can come walking by or on your bike or driving with the ample parking that we provided. And you can come from any direction and kind of approach the site and enjoy it equally. Also in closing, we did want to thank, on behalf of NJIT, the opportunity to participate in the project. We all really loved it, and thank you to both mayors and everyone who participated in making us a part of it. Thank you.
Okay, and I want to introduce James Horn, who's President, CEO of United Way, who's very interested in trying to promote and assist the mayors and the communities with this project.
Thank you, Bob.
And Tom will advance your slide.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Again, just real quick, I want to just thank the mayor for his leadership in this project. It was actually happenstance that United Way got involved. I came to see the mayor to talk about what I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about, but really to talk about community issues, community needs, get his thinking on how we could address those together And he said, well, you know, great, had this great conversation. And oh, by the way, you know, we're thinking of this incredible project. And my mind started to turn about how this project could be utilized to support advancing social services and for the residents of the community. So again, thank you, Mayor, thank you, Bob, for letting us kind of tag into this. So real quick, go back one. United Way, who we are, in Union County, we've been around since turn of the century. We work primarily in family strengthening, and we realize that, you know, people that have access to income, education, and health can probably provide a good life for themselves and their family. We've been working in Linden primarily, I want to say, due to the fact of the efforts of Pastor Pam. And some years ago, Pastor Pam approached the United Way and with an interest of doing some additional work here in the community. And we listened to her presentations. It makes a lot of sense. And for a lot of reasons, we're happy to be here. And we've been working as a partner with her in Linden since that time. Go ahead. So before I get into our stuff, I got a little quick true false. We got some giveaways, and there's 3 quick questions. So go ahead, Tom. First, and from the audience, this is a true false. 16% of the residents over the age of 25 lack a high school diploma. Is that a true or is that a false? All right. What's the answer, Charlie? It's true. 16% of the residents. All right. Next one. The diversity in our community, about 27% Black African American, 25% Hispanic, Latino, 25% foreign born. Makes sense? True? True? True?
Yes.
False. Next one. Typically, kids move out of their parents' home during early time. So you guys know your community, right? Okay. They don't leave, right? Okay, so you know your community. And basically, I do this to say that part of what we want to do is understand the community. Because before we can do anything, we want to know who people are and kind of understand that. Okay, Tom. So quickly, we did a lot of data dumping with Rutgers to understand more about the community. Me and the mayor talked about it. Pastor Pan and I talk about it all the time. And there's some certain things about the community that the social justice system really allows us to address. Good. So your population, a lot of folks, 25 to 34 and growing. We see Linden as actually a place where people are coming to because of cost of living here, apartment space. So we're getting a lot of folks from other urban communities, as the mayor and I talked about, moving into the community. Your demographics are right, but 32% come from other countries. Well, we also talked about it's not just Latin American countries. A lot of folks are coming here from Eastern European countries as well. So how do we work with those populations? And the fact that almost 50% of the people speak another language in their home besides English. We looked at the educational issues, and for the most part, beyond the issue of the lack of residential high school diplomas, advanced degrees as well, and then our kids are graduating below the level of the average New Jersey high school kid. So when you kind of think about the world this way, and one of the things for us as we think about the complex is, okay, we've got this opportunity, and Pastor Pam's going to talk about the services, but what do we bring there? And what kind of services are really going to fit the needs of the people coming through all the doors and all the community as well. So part of what we want to do and why this is really important for us, and we think it makes a lot of sense for the community, it gives us a hub to have those conversations and to bring the community into those discussions in a real way, and then make the justice system, the social side, really match what the residents of the community need. So for us, we're on board 100%, and we're definitely excited about that. Next slide. And so the things that we know and the expertise that Pastor Pam and her team will bring will help us do a lot of this stuff. But from United Way's perspective, what we like to do is to bring other resources and think about other programming, other services, and quite frankly, real time the dollars to support those services into the social justice system. So for us, it's not just, well, here it is, but once it's there, let's really maximize it and utilize it. And it's really going to take, from our perspective, if you would, the next slide, Tom, I think I'm almost done. One more, you can go again. From us, this is really about being able to create a community agenda and use the center as a place to do that. Our hope is that through Pastor Pam's efforts, we can reach out to others in the community, have some ongoing dialogue so that when this does happen, the services that are going to be in that 7,000 square feet will be aligned with the needs of the residents of the community. So we're asking everyone in this room that wants to help us in that conversation. At some point, we'll be reaching out. One more slide. There's some contact information up there, and there are PowerPoints outside. Charlene, if you could just raise your hand. She's kind of our staff point person here in Linden, so we look forward to working with you folks, Pastor Pam and her team, and the mayor to make this process really work for the residents.
And that's the kind of teamwork that can make this a reality.
Thank you, Bob. Take care, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Pastor Pam, we met with her here at the Job Center, in fact, and did some connections with her in Department of Labor, and I know they're also interested in providing some support to the job opportunities here, because we know jobs are an important part for families and family stability. And Pastor Pam has a few words to say.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank everyone who received invitations that you came out and on a Wednesday night. And we're just so glad and just very privileged to have you as a part of this meeting. I'm not going to take up much of your time, but I want to talk more about Communities in Cooperation, Inc. and some of the things that we have been able to do here in the city of Linden. Yes. The concept of a youth and family success center, and we really like focusing on the youth component, but in addition, we really enjoy servicing families and helping them to attain success through self-sufficiency. So it's a lot of training that takes place in addition to assistance so that people learn how to fish so that they can eat, as opposed to just giving them a dinner. So we have our parents that we work with. We work with just skill building, sustainability concepts, and self-sufficiency. When we first started out, next slide. When we first started out in Linden, we started out just doing these services from my home. And I was so passionate about it, and then we went to First Baptist Church in Linden where we held the services. And then after that, we ended up here thanks to the mayor. And we've been working for a number of years with United Way to try to bring this vision to fruition. And the saying goes that it's not how many people say no, it's just finding the one yes. Finding the one yes, and thank you, Mayor, for that. We have services for our adults, but before I go into services, I just want to make sure that you can see what we do on this slide. But I want to talk to you from a more personable perspective, because we've provided 1,865 units of service in the year of 2013. How have we done that? We have worked with New Jersey Shares to help through United Way's participation and connection to make sure that people would be able to have utility assistance. You wouldn't believe the number of families that we've been able to help, and to prevent them from having their services shut off. We've worked with one family where we had the experience of someone who was very ill and needed to have water. Their water was shut off, and they had the tracheotomy, and they were trying to make sure that they could cleanse themselves properly, and we were able to get the water bill turned back on through these services. We have New Jersey Cares, where people have no means and understanding of how to get insurance. We're able to help them to fill out applications. We hold their hands to get it done. Another utility assistance program is called True, where people who are in need, we connect them to those services. When we connect them to the services and help them with their utility, rental, whatever the assistance, we make sure that everybody receives a class in financial literacy so that they can begin to then budget In budgeting, they find out that there's some things that they need to eliminate and there's some things that they need to add, but they have a more affordable lifestyle. And it's just amazing how interested they are in this budget. They want to take a packet not only home for themselves, but they want to share it with other friends and families because very few people live from a budget. And so it's been very, very interesting to work with the community and to provide that service. We provide food services. We make sure that families receive food. We receive calls from all over. We had with the victims who were in the fire, and Ms. Tango, she was so instrumental in giving us information. We were able to get them food and clothing, shelter, so forth and so on. But in the community, we've even had where Goya has come out, thanks to United Way, where they've had truckloads of food that we were able to give in the community. With our youth, we provide youth mentoring services. We service more than 100 youth every year here in Linden. We're in the schools, we go to McManus, we have mentoring sessions here, and that's been a good opportunity where we've been able to share through structured curriculum to have outcomes for our youth, where we're teaching them now a curriculum called Positive Action. We have a contract where we even work with DCP&P, formerly DIFAS, where we provide services to teens who are in the DIFAS system. Every Friday, we're here in the community center providing classes and mentoring services. We had last year 351 youth, not different youth, these are just the times that they've come in. We had, for 351 times, someone coming into our center doing homework, using the computers that we have. And I know, Rashada, you've been very instrumental in sending some of the kids over to participate in our programming. For college courses that are done on computers, we had 66 experiences of people coming in to do college homework online. We've had 325 people that we have provided training to so that they can utilize computer systems to find jobs, so that they can get on Snag-a-Jobs and all of the various instruments that are out there now, and we teach and train so that they can look and they can post their resumes. We provide resume services, the whole 9 yards, to help with competency. We have classes for job readiness that we do. We even have, tomorrow we're gonna have a job fair, and we have hundreds of people who come out to the job fair that are seeking employment. We also have, we help people with their mortgages when they fall behind, rental assistance. We were honored to have an opportunity to help families who had experiences with Sandy, that we had the approach that we didn't want to just look at one area of Linden. We wanted to, because that storm just hit just sporadically various areas, and we were able to work along with the Mayor and United Way, whereas they serviced an area and made sure that they were well taken care of to the best that money would be able to be provided for the purposes of restoration. But then there were some other families that were sporadically hit throughout the city, and we were able to provide services to them as well. We provide transportation services. The first week of the job, some people have no means by which to get to work. And we have bus tickets that we're able to provide to people to get to and from work. We help people to get eyeglasses. We connect them to legal assistance. And so we have, over the course of 2013, we have had 1,865 experiences or units of service that we have provided to Linden and the surrounding communities. So with that being said, we're having a job fair on tomorrow. The last time we had one, people were all around the corner. People were stopping by to find out what was going on. What's going on at the center? Well, there is a job fair tomorrow that we are having. It is summer. The numbers of employers aren't at the level that we would like, but what we took an innovative approach. We worked with the employers and we said, okay, we understand that you don't have a team person that can come out, but you do need applicants. And they said, if you would get them to fill out applications, give us the resume, bundle them, and bring them to us, we would really consider them highly. So whereas we're gonna have some that are present, we're gonna have a table for those who are not present to begin to work through the nuances of providing the services. In addition, we have, we work with Mayor Gabunko, we work with Mr. Jim Horn and all of the United Way staff. We're accountable. We have statistics. We have documentation. It's backed up. It's not something that we're just saying publicly. If you would like, we could show you the files. We wouldn't show you the names on the files, but the thick books of all of the people that we have serviced over the course of the years. And that is required in order to receive the funding. We have to keep track, keep records, and we're very good at that. We just want to thank Rashana, because she was one who helped us to get into this facility. She made a recommendation, and we thank her as well. With all being said, I think I'll come to a close now. With all that has happened in the city of Linden, where we've lost General Motors and some of the other companies, some of the places have closed down on Wood Avenue because there's not that kind of activity with a large employer in town. This will help us to come back. This will help Linden to be on the map again. We talk about how Linden used to be. Well, now let's talk about what Linden is and what it's going to be in the near future. I don't want you to applaud me, but I want you to applaud yourselves for being here and listening. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, so you can see how this, really to make this center transformational to the community and to both Roselle and Linden, you have to knit together all these players. And I know we have the superintendent of schools here, I think too, and they have a very important role to play. I know your police chief, I guess, is here as well, and they've been very useful in providing the data and documentation, and I know they're very supportive of integrating the police with this whole effort. And Rashana has been helping us along the way and went to some of the NJIT meetings, and did you want to say something about?
Just very informally, thank you all for coming. This is proposed in our ward, and I do support this. As Pastor Pam said, if she's in this building in that one little room doing all of those things, just imagine what can be done in 7,000 square feet, not just with her staff, but with additions from United Way and other community partners. So when you think about, this is not a project that's going to generate revenue for us per se, but it is going to benefit our community, the entire community, Roselle's community, the Linden community, and I'm excited. The mayor said it, you know, it's far off, but it's a vision. But if we believe in something and we work towards it, we can make it happen. Yeah. So thank you all for coming and, you know, listening to the presentations. And I'm excited. I think we can make this happen right here in the 5th Ward.
Okay, so the question, there's some, what are the next steps? Obviously, the community has to get behind this. It has to support it if the governing bodies are going to support it. So your involvement with United Way, your involvement with your council people, your involvement with the mayors, and any letters of support you have for the redevelopment plan or the redevelopment efforts of this property are going to make this become a reality. The redevelopment plan itself is going to be presented to the governing body and the planning board in Linden, and hopefully they're going to adopt that, and hopefully that'll be made available to the residents too on the web. There's a lot of vision, a lot of detail information in here that will be useful. And then the hard work of the communities to actually put together agreements for the use of space, because you have to see if the school wants some role or they need some space here, and what the space, Trinitas is already looking at what their design components are going to be. So once you get all those partners together, the second part of that is the agreement between the borough and the city have to do joint service agreements. So there's some work on how they put those two together. And then the question of funding, and we did look at doing, you have a bond rating, you have an ability to finance this. Certainly your tenants will pay for some of it. So we tried to break up at least a theoretical approach, how that could happen. And then of course you could move, if you have all those places and all those items in place, then you could move towards doing an actual architectural design of the facility, go out and get RFQs for that, and then move into the approval process. So those are more or less the next steps, Tom. And then I think the mayor And we were gonna get comments from the audience and any questions that you may have on the project before we have some final wrap-up remarks.
I just forgot to say one thing. I also want to thank Mayor Jamel Holly that I've been working with in Roselle, where we have designed an employment program under Roselle First for the Roselle First initiative. And that has really been so rewarding. In Roselle, what we do is it's a center, it's an actual employment center. In Linden, what happens is we train people to get jobs and try to have job fairs so that they can get connected where they have the right level of skill. So it's a work that works successfully. It's two different concepts, but it works very well. Thanks.
I don't know if anyone had any comments, yes?
I'm James Moore, I'm City Council President from Linden.
Oh, I saw you on TV, but I've never met you.
Recently, we had a vote on whether or not to purchase the property, and up until the vote, I was divided. But I'm an advocate for nonviolent drug offenders that are incarcerated. I believe to have them incarcerated and have them released and have no services available for them is just insane. And participating in meetings, and there's a movement underway to have them released nonviolently and have them involved with different programs. What I liked about this, what really changed my vote, was the fractured criminal justice system, the services that will be available for people that went wrong, need a break, need an opportunity for employment, need counseling. And Roshana had said this may not be a money-making situation, but if you do help the person and they get a job, they'll be paying taxes. It'll be the other way around. And so I changed my vote and I supported this, and I hope it takes off. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, any other comments or questions? Yeah, sorry, we didn't have a mic. We'll try to speak up the best we can, but the report will be available for you to look at. It has all the details, and it should be on the, you're gonna put it on the web?
Yeah, we're gonna put it on the web, we're gonna put it on Linden TV. Yes,
How
please.
much are you planning to get grant versus taxpayer money for these projects?
Well, that is our next step with the DCA. We got a lot of work to do yet. This project is not a done deal by any means. And our next step is to draw more people from the private sector into this program, because the more people we get from the private sector, the less it's gonna cost us. I could remember years ago when we had a bank here, United Counties Bank. We had a movie theater here on Chandler Avenue. We had Gold Bell Bakery. Again, that's what we want to create here with the public-private partnership, so that we create a spark that's going to ignite an explosion on St. George Avenue economically to draw developers to all this vacant land. And what I've invited the superintendent of schools. I'd like to reach out for him, get him involved, and maybe have some after-hour school programs in this social justice center. And again, reach out to the bank, see if we could get a bank. What better place for a bank to site than right next to a police station? You can't ask for a better security. So there's a lot more work to be done. But as you can see, this is not done by one person. This is a team of expert people that have put a lot of time and effort into this project, and it's gonna happen. I truly feel, as Roshana said, she was part of the NJIT team that went with the architectural students. This is gonna happen. It's just gonna take a little time. We're gonna go back to the drawing board with Bob, see what grants are available out there. Again, we got Councilwoman Yamakaitis, Councilman Sadowski. That's my brother. Yeah. And we got Derek Armstead, Councilman Armstead, Councilman Byer. We got, is there any other councilman I'm missing here?
He just left.
Okay. We got a lot of support from the council for this project. So I think it's going to be an extraordinary, beneficial project to this community, our neighborhood. And again, we just got to roll up our sleeves and work hard, because that is the one hurdle we're going to struggle with, is funding. It's going to cost.
But I have to say, in my perspective, I think it's a wonderful idea. I was skeptical coming in. I particularly like the fact that Route St. George Avenue is the evacuation route. And I like the direct access with the OEM and not having it on the other end of the world, trying to get to this end of the world. Having it be able to house all that equipment is a wonderful thing. I'm still a little, having the police station and community things together, as long as it's a separate, and, as separate halls.
There'll be
where it's
security.
not mixing.
There'll be security for the police
I'm
station.
okay with that, but I think it's a very positive idea, and especially bringing forth other businesses. Like was discussed earlier, as far as dining, as far as banking, those are all things that are gonna build St. George Avenue into a vital
That's right.
community again.
That's right, so when they see if this operation's here and the hospital, is gonna be paying their part, and United Way will be paying, and CIC will be paying something for their
Right,
space.
and I am very big toward shared services. It's a wonderful thing. If anybody knows Mayor Holly, they know how much he has done in the short time that he has been in Roselle. And his ideas and his visions have come to fruition on a lot of ends, and I'm more than happy to share services with that community.
And it's efficient, there's cost savings involved there.
Absolutely.
And those facilities, we don't kind of look at the cost there, but if you're not using a building and you can sell it and there's a use for it, that's
Correct.
some revenue. But I mean, at the end of the day, 50 or 60% of this cost, no matter how you slice it, you're gonna have to go out and bond for. And we gave you some
Right.
numbers, kind of some assumption numbers looking at that. But I think when you look at the multiplier effect of the community and what else you're gonna attract, it's more, over the long term, it's gonna make a big difference, even in the fact that the property values are gonna increase all around, and that eventually brings you more tax revenue. Yes, ma'am?
My question is twofold. First off, I'd like to say that I have a very positive initial reaction to this presentation. But my question is, I realize that this is a vision at this point. How far out? I mean, I don't know if you can estimate, if we're talking 5 years, 10 years, until it materializes, or what do you have in mind? That's the first part of the question. And the second part is, excuse me, what do you expect from us as residents and as the community in terms of support? I mean, specifically, what are we?
Vocal support, when we ask for a vote for a bond issue, we would like the support of the community, because as was said, we are gonna eventually have to bond some money. How much of it all depends on the private sector coming on board and relieving us of some of that burden. But I'd like everybody here, to what you've learned today, to go and talk to your neighbors. Let them know what our vision is for making this neighborhood a better neighborhood with the social justice complex. That's what I would like you to project to all your neighbors. Again, we gotta roll up our sleeves and make sure that this is not a vision anymore, but it comes to fruition. And I'm looking at a 3 to 5 year span once we clear all the hurdles.
And I know that when people write letters to their council president, to council members, and to the mayor, and to the newspapers, and say, we want to see this happen, that gives, a lot of support to the people that have to make the hard decisions about, do we go out and borrow money to make this happen, or do we sign leases with people to finance?
Yes.
Mayor and council, I want to know, and I think everybody said the same thing, how long would it take? Do you have to draw petitions for these people to give up these abandoned buildings that's on St. George Avenue? St. George Avenue is bad, I'm talking about where I live right now. I moved out here in 2007. And half of St. George Avenue coming from the track coming down this way, it needs to be fixed up. Do we draw petitions to get these people out of the way or what? I'm not saying get them out of the way, to get these buildings. They sitting there, people standing there every day, 24/7. The police are roadside and Linden is trying to get them away, doing the best they can do, the police, and they still there every day. So what do you do? Do we have to draw petitions or what?
No, the police chief's here from the city of Linden, the police chief from Roselle, Mayor Holly and myself. If you got any issues with police protection,
Yes.
feel free to call my office, feel free to call the chief. We're here to protect and serve.
Yes.
But what I'm saying with this social justice complex is once we put a full-blown police station here, you're gonna have a police presence that you've never seen before, and those people that are creating issues are gonna go someplace else. I could guarantee you that. Yes, sir.
Would we have someone from the community, you know, since it's coming to our community, would we have someone from the community that would also have a say-so in the, you know, in the parking lot or just the building itself, but, you know, the management of it or something, since it's coming to us, you know, we all live. Did we have a little, you know, some input on something about it?
Well, that's what this first information session is all about, informing you of what we anticipate to do, and we're looking for your recommendations. We could have in the future a meeting after you digest what we tell you tonight, maybe a month from now, have a meeting, Rashana. We could have a meeting here, your community meeting. Rashana's been working closely, huh?
And I think working with your council person, your mayor, are the proper ways to do that.
But we'd be more than happy to have a community meeting just for input from the community. Yes, ma'am.
Some private sector businesses kind of look for tax break incentives or things like that in order to move into or to build their establishment within the community. And I know you're looking to generate taxes from those private sector businesses. How do you plan on offsetting things like that if they're asking for an incentive to move into it? In order to build their business there.
We can't give them incentive. The state of New Jersey could give them an incentive, but the city of Linden can't. We can't decide on giving a tax break, property tax-wise, to a business. The law won't allow us to do that. State of New Jersey has different incentives for that.
Yeah, the Business Action Center at the state in Trenton, they work with businesses to try to give them, you know, financial incentives to locate in the area. So I'm sure that when that investment comes, when they start seeing this center, that'll be a good revenue that the town venue the town can, the city can utilize.
Mayor Holly's just come back. He had to run out a minute. Mayor, step up, say a few words.
Sure.
We've been working very closely together, and I'll tell you, I'm proud of the mayor, and I'm glad to have him on board on this project.
No, thank you, Mayor. I want to thank you for the invitation, and thank you all for allowing Roselle to be a part of the project. And what we have here is the mere idea of a vision for both municipalities. And when the mayor had asked me about some of the wants and needs of Roselle, this was a perfect fit and partnership for the city of Roselle and Linden. And we're too close of a community to not be partnering. We're too close of a community that we should be sharing things. And there's no reason why two mayors and two councils should not be working together for the betterment of both municipalities that we both border each other. And so I'm happy to be a part of this project. On our side, where we benefit is that we are going to provide more commercial and retail for this facility. We're going to be announcing that in the next couple months. But the social services that are going to be provided in this building are phenomenal, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And we already work with United Way. We already work with CIC. So this joint partnership, along with our OEM departments and police departments, it's just the perfect fit. So, you know, again, I'm happy to be a part of it, Mayor. Linden has been just a wonderful team of people who have just welcomed us into your municipality, and this is not the first of things that we do have. You know, we share, you know, other services as well. As they mentioned here in the presentation, we have the streetscape project that's going on that we receive funding from the federal government. So the streetscapes along St. George Avenue now will be You can clap, that's a good thing. You can clap. So that's just stuff. And so this is a step in the right direction. It's not set in stone, but this is a vision. It will probably change, but you know, the mayor, myself, and our team at the state who have been phenomenal. I mean, you guys have been phenomenal at NJIT. The whole department, mayor, thanks to you and your relationships with the governor's office, has been just a phenomenal partner in this entire project. And so this is not where it ends. We're going to need more input from a lot of you, and I'll be part of your community meetings, Mayor and Councilwoman, to share some more thoughts and ideas and some more concerns or thoughts and ideas from my residents as well, since this will be a joint partnership. But again, I'm happy to be here today. I'm happy to be a partner, and let's just work together for both the betterment of both communities to move our communities forward. Again, Mayor, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Didn't I hear Mayor Holly say that we're gonna combine our dispatch services? Not sure. Any other questions?
I
Yeah,
didn't
sure.
hear an overall number for this. I don't know how I missed that.
Overall number cost-wise,
Yep.
talking about 16 mil?
Yeah, it was about $16 million.
That's not bad.
We used, and in the redevelopment report, when you see it, we use like published per square foot standards, because we don't have a designed building. And a portion of that will be picked up by Roselle for their use, a portion will be picked up by Trinitas, and you'll make more than that in a multi-building this time. And, and then a portion by the municipality. But we have in the redevelopment plan that'll be posted, all the projected numbers are on there to give you a ballpark, as well as the cost of financing and bonding.
I need a copy of
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other sites under consideration other than this area here?
In regards to what now? Development?
The complex, the location.
No, again, to me, this is the ideal location. No.
And you own this property, and it's enough property massed all together in the right location but there is opportunity in all these other vacant pieces, hopefully this will be a catalyst.
No, any other questions? If not, Rashani, do you want to say something? Or you've already said it? No. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, yes.
Work hard to make this happen.
And please, tell your neighbors what you learned today.